Hey everybody, welcome to another IAEI News Live. My name is Thomas Dimitrovich, and today we're going to talk about hotels and motels here on IAEI News Live. This is a recorded session. Stay tuned for more on hotels. All right, so here's what we got. Yes, I am traveling, and I am in a hotel that has a bedroom. I would call that a little living room, and behind me here is a kitchen. So I don't know why, but I thought, well, let's take a look at this type of an application through the eyes of the NEC. And I'm going to use NFPA links. So get your 2023 codebook out, or hopefully you are a subscriber to NFPA link and you'll follow along with me. So what I'm doing is I opened up NFPA link to the 2023 code, and I am searching on hotel. All right. The first hit is in Article 100. For Article 100, remember in the 2023 edition, they moved all of the defined terms into Article 100. So here we have in Article 100 definitions, dwelling unit. A dwelling unit is a single unit providing complete and independent living facilities for one or more persons, including permanent provisions for living, sleeping, cooking, and sanitation. Now, if you just think about this hotel room, there are provisions for cooking, there are provisions for sleeping, and living. So I have a living room area, I have a bedroom area, I also have sanitation, which is the bathroom area, and we have cooking provisions. So this room here in this hotel meets the definition of a dwelling unit. So that means that each of these rooms technically is a dwelling unit. So a single unit providing complete and independent living facilities for one or more persons, including permanent provisions for living, sleeping, cooking, and sanitation. All right, so that's the first step that we have when we search for the word hotel inside of the 2023 codebook. And it's always good to start at the defined terms. So I just had this discussion. I was doing a session. I was doing a 2023 code changes presentation this past Saturday. And we spent time on defined terms. Now, I know, and I know you know, that defined terms can be a boring topic. But honestly, it's a critical piece of understanding the National Electrical Code, because the defined terms is what gets us into the requirement. So stay tuned for that, right? So always check out Article 100 and the defined terms. It will help you in your journey in understanding the code. All right, so when I search for hotel, it takes me to, it took me to the definition of a dwelling unit, but The word hotel is not in dwelling unit. You know where the word hotel was? In the enhanced content that's found in NFPA link. That's an interesting. So that's another aspect of NFPA link that you need to know about, is that the enhanced content, although the enhanced content is not enforceable, it can provide some good supporting information for your code journey. All right. Let's see, where else does it take us? I'm not going to go to 220. I'm going to go to Article 210. So, Article 210. All right. Article 210. 210.52H. 210.52H is, okay, 210.52 is the receptacle requirements, right? So the title of 210.52 is dwelling unit, receptacle outlets. We've already established that a hotel room like this, I'm going to focus on this hotel room because I can. This hotel room is technically meets the definition of a dwelling unit. So I'm in 210.52. Obviously you have to follow the small appliance branch circuits. So this small kitchenette has one receptacle. And we had a public input. No, not a public input. We didn't have a public input. I had a discussion with somebody about a small kitchen. And the small kitchen. So this is a really small kitchen. And if you look at the small appliance, it tells us that in kitchens, in 210.52b, small appliance, 1, receptacle outlets served. In the kitchen, pantry, breakfast room. I don't have a pantry. I don't have a breakfast room. I don't have a dining room. The 2 or more 20 amp small appliance branch circuits are required by 210.11c1, have to serve all wall and floor receptacle outlets covered in 210.52a. So let's take a look at 210.11 Charlie 1. In addition to the number of branch circuits required by other parts of this section, 2 or more 20 ampere small appliance branch circuits shall be provided for all receptacle outlets specified in 210.52b. So if I have a receptacle requirement in this kitchen, technically it's a kitchen. It meets the definition of a kitchen. It has permanent cooking provisions. It has a sink. It meets the definition of a kitchen. I need 2 or more 20 ampere branch circuits. I only have one receptacle. So technically, that one receptacle that's on the wall, I would have to split it. The top receptacle would have to be on one 20 ampere branch circuit. The bottom part of that would have to be on another 20 ampere branch circuit, or I could put 2 duplexes in there. But I need 2 20 ampere branch circuits going to the receptacles in this kitchen or more. Now, the discussion that I've had with a few individuals raised the issue that they feel, and I'm starting to agree with them, that when you have a kitchen like this, and you have one receptacle outlet. It seems kind of overkill to say you need two 20 ampere branch circuits. But that's what the code says. Now, I have a short little video, which I'll play at some point. You know what? I'm going to play it right now. So I took this video earlier. I wanted to walk through the panel board that's in this this space, this room inside of a hotel. I wanted to walk through the panel board because the panel board is right here in the kitchen. And let's take a look at the panel board that's in here. Think about the required branch circuits. And I want you to tell me in the notes, are we meeting the NEC? I'm not going to tell you what state I'm in. But I want you to take a look at this panel board, and I walk through the branch circuits, and we'll even test some GFCIs and AFCIs. All right? So let's take a look at it. All right. So I'm in a hotel room, and thought I would take this moment to for this IAEI News Live. I have to record this, so I thought I would just take a few moments and talk about this application. So I'm in a hotel room that is basically a as you can tell, I got a kitchen. I've got a cooktop here. I've got permanent provisions for cooking. I have a sink. I've got a microwave, and I have a one receptacle here in this kitchen. I'll call this a kitchen. I have a refrigerator here, microwave, cooktop, permanent provisions for cooking, and then a sink and a dishwasher. So pretty cool application. Thought I would just real quickly look behind the cover. So I have a panel board. I open up the panel board. What I like is they did a great job in labeling. I have a label here that it's typed, so it's very clear. The panel is numbered, obviously. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way up to 16. There's three empty slots. So let's take a look. You'll notice right off the bat, I see some red buttons. So I know that's technology. I also see two circuits here that are of a different color breaker. They have a little test button on them. So more technology. The question is, what circuits are they on? So let's take a look at what the circuit arrangement is. So I have breaker number 5, which is this gray breaker, which I believe trying to read it, it is an AFCI. So those two gray breakers are both arc fault circuit interrupters. So on circuit 5 and 7, I have AFCI protection. Circuit 5 is your living room. So that's that living area over here. There's a lamp over there. Yep, turned the living room off. All right, so I just did a test of the first AFCI. The second AFCI is on the sleeping area, which is around the corner. I do have a light on over there, which I'm going to check out. All right, I see the light turn out. There we go. So that's the sleeping area. Device on circuit breaker 9 is for the dining room. So that is a GFCI protected circuit in the dining room, probably because it's within 6 foot of the sink. So I have a receptacle right here. I'd have to plug something in to see if I kill it, but that's, whoa, yeah. So that picked up the lights, probably that receptacle. I'm not sure, but I'll have to double check that one. All right, so there's my dining room. This is my refrigerator, which is over here. And I could argue that that is within 6 foot of the sink and it is not on a GFCI. I'd have to get a ruler, which I don't have a ruler, but here is my sink right here. You can't see it. And the receptacle is right behind this refrigerator, and that cannot be less than 6 foot. Could be. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to say that's 6 foot. That's outside of 6 foot from the sink. All right. So now on this side, I've got a 2-pole breaker, which is the cooktop, which is right here. Then I have the microwave. Now the microwave, there's a receptacle up here in this cabinet. So that receptacle, man, that receptacle is within 6 foot of the sink and it is not GFCI protected. So you could argue, depending upon the date, that that's a door of when this building was constructed. I don't know when it was constructed. But that is the microwave. And then the kitchen receptacles are number 8. Oh, wow. I'm going to put the toaster on. The toaster is not plugged in, but I'm going to plug it in. We'll plug that in. Kitchen receptacle number 8. Okay, so that's the receptacle. Number 10 is the disposal. So that circuit is on the disposal. The dishwasher is number 12. That's not GFCI protected. And then this one here is the bathroom. And that is GFCI protected. So I have a kitchen receptacle. This says kitchen receptacle. It is not GFCI protected. I'm not sure. Maybe it's that one over there. I don't know. But in any case, there are 2 arc fault circuit interrupters and 3 ground fault circuit interrupters in that panel. Got a microwave, refrigerator. I'm going to unplug the toaster. Good source of heat. All right, so that is that's the kitchenette. That's the kitchen here at this hotel. Let's go take a look at the bathroom. Let's go test the GFCI in the bath. Oh, there is no GFCI receptacle in the bathroom. You know why? It's right there. So the entire wire is protected. All right. Well, we just performed a little bit of maintenance on this on the GFCIs by running the test. So looks like I'll have to book this room next month. All right. So what'd you think? Put your comments down in the, make sure you put your comments down below, even if you're watching this months from now. Comment on the video. Give me your thoughts, your perspectives. What do you think about the little review of the panel board? All right. Okay, so I'm going to go back to 210. So we had 210.52 H. We already, oh no, did I talk about? No, I didn't. So 210.52H says in dwelling units, hallways of 10 foot or more in length shall have at least one receptacle outlet. As used in this subsection, the hallway length shall be considered the length along the center line of the hallway without passing through a doorway. Now, there's no use of the word hotel there, but in the enhanced content, it says this requirement is intended to minimize strain or damage to cords and receptacles for dwelling unit receptacles. And it says the requirement does not apply to common hallways of hotels, motels, apartment buildings, condominiums, and similar occupancies. And why is that? Because it says in dwelling units. So outside of this room, there's a long hallway. But that long hallway is not in a dwelling unit. The hallway that is in a dwelling unit has to be of 10 foot or more in length, has to have at least one receptacle outlet. All right, so keep that in mind. That's where that one plays a role, which that's a good one. Okay, so I'm going to come out of 210.52 and I'm going to go straight over to 210.60. 210.60 tells us, guest rooms, guest suites, dormitory units, and similar occupancy. So this one, 210.60 applies to a hotel, whether you're in a suite like I am in now, or if you're just in a regular guest room. The general requirements tells us that the guest rooms have to have receptacle outlets installed in accordance with 210.52A and D. Now, 210.52A and D, A says in every kitchen, family room, dining room, living room, parlor, library, etc., etc. They talk about the spacing. They have the wall space. They have the floor receptacles. They have the countertops and similar work surfaces. And let's take a look at D. 210.52D is bathrooms. So you have to have at least one receptacle outlet in a bathroom within 3 foot of the outside edge of each sink. And it says the receptacle outlet has to be located on a wall or portion that is adjacent to the sink or sink countertop, located on the countertop or installed on the side or face of the sink cabinet, etc. All right. So you have the requirements and general requirements pointing you back to 210.52A and D. In B, they talk about receptacle placement. The total number of receptacle outlets shall not be less than the required by 210.52A, and the receptacle outlets are permitted to be located conveniently for permanent furniture layout. At least 2 receptacle outlets have to be readily accessible, and they say where receptacles are installed behind the bed, the receptacle has to be located to prevent the bed from contacting any attachment plug that may be installed, or the receptacle shall be provided with a suitable guard. So they don't want the bed pushing up against the receptacle or the cord that's plugged into that receptacle. So basically what B gives you is the ability to put the receptacles where you want to place them. You count the number of receptacles based upon 210.52A, and then you put them where you need to put them, following these rules. All right, so 210.60A and B are definitely on your radar if you're doing hotels. Now, let's talk about lighting. 210.70. Lighting outlets have to be installed where as applicable in A, B, and C, we're going to go to 210.70B because that is titled guest rooms or guest suites. So it says in hotels, motels, or similar occupancies, the guest rooms or guest suites have to have at least one lighting outlet controlled by a listed wall mounting control device installed in every habitable room and bathroom. So if I think about this room, I have a kitchen, I have a living area and a bedroom area and a bathroom. But the living area, the bedroom area, I'd call this the foyer or the foyer, and the kitchen. This is all one room. I mean, I could probably light this entire room with one light, but I have a light up here. I have a light up here. I have a light in the bedroom. And I believe the lamp, two of these lamps at least are switchable. And obviously I have some lights in the kitchen. So it says in hotels, motels, or similar occupancies, guest rooms or guest suites shall have at least one lighting outlet controlled by a listed wall-mounted control device installed in every habitable room and bathroom. All right. There are two exceptions. In other than bathrooms and kitchens, where provided one or more receptacles controlled by a listed wall-mounted control device shall be permitted in lieu of lighting outlets. All right, so I can control the receptacle. And the second exception, lighting outlets are permitted to be controlled by occupancy sensors that are in addition to listed wall-mounted control devices or located at a customary wall switch location. So I've got two exceptions, but suffice it to say, you're going to have to think about receptacles and you're going to have to think about lighting. And oh, by the way, you've got a kitchen because that meets the definition of a kitchen. You're going to have to meet the requirements for a kitchen. That would include 210.8 for ground fault circuit interrupters. You would include AFCI protection too, right? So depending upon the year that this hotel was made or whatever hotel you're dealing with, you have to think about 210.12, 210.8, 210.52, 210.70. Make sense? So far? So far, so good. So good so far. All right, and then there's floor outlets, 210.65. What is that? 210.60, that's meeting rooms. So now that would not impact this room here because this would be a dwelling unit because it meets the definition of a dwelling unit. 210.65 may come into play in other areas in this hotel just because that's what you do in hotels. So 210.65 meeting rooms would be another area that you really need to look at. That was new. Geez, I can't think of the code cycle. It's been a few. It's been at least a few. Maybe 9 years. I don't know. Maybe at least 3 code cycles. I don't know. Check it out. Put it down in the comments. When did 210.65 first enter the code? Don't do for the student what the student can do for themselves. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. All right. Is there anything else in 210? I already mentioned 210.8. I think I mentioned 210.8. I would say you would go to 210.8b. You know what? Hold on. Let's think about this. Okay. This room is a dwelling unit. The entire hotel is other than a dwelling unit. Oh man, my brain is hurting. Having said that, think about this. I have a lot of dwelling units, but what about all the common areas? They're not dwelling units. I would say that's other than a dwelling unit. So in this application, would you agree or disagree? Put a comment. Add to the comments. Would you agree or disagree? This is both. This hotel has dwelling units and is other than a dwelling unit. Wow. That's profound and scary, don't you think? Jiminy crickets. All right. So you would have the 210.8 requirements. You have the kitchen, GFCI protection on the kitchen, bathroom. You have the GFCI protection in the bathroom, which is around this corner. Crawl spaces, basements, kitchens. Areas with sinks and permanent provisions, don't have that. Sinks where receptacles are installed within 6 foot from the top inside edge of the bowl of the sink. I got a sink. I've got receptacles in there. I've got a receptacle right here, which is, I would argue, within 6 foot of that sink. I don't deal with a boathouse, bathtubs, shower stalls, laundry areas, indoor damp and wet locations. Now, in other than dwelling units, you might have a buffet serving area in this hotel. You may have a rooftop area that might have receptacles on a roof if it's a flat roof. You may have locker rooms or associated showering facilities. I don't know. Crawl spaces. You might have a laundry area. Think about it. You might have a common area that has a laundry area. I've been in hotels that have, I don't know if this place has a laundry area, but in some cases they have that one floor that has a laundry area. So you have both 210.8A, which is in here, and 210.8B applications. Whoa, that is some deep stuff, don't you think? Am I wrong? Tell me. Comment on the video. Let me know your thoughts. I'd love to know. If you do hotels, do you inspect hotels and motels? Tell me what you're thinking. I can't read your mind. All right, so that's in 210. Let's talk about 230. 230.67. 230.67 is surge protection. All right. And in the 2023 edition, it says all services supplying the following occupancy shall be provided with a surge protective device. Dwelling units. This is a dwelling unit. If that panel board behind me, right there, if that panel board was put in per the 2023 code cycle, that panel board, in my humble opinion, would have to have a surge protective device. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? It says guest rooms and guest suites of hotels and motels. So let me ask you, since you have a dwelling unit in one, and this room meets the definition of a dwelling unit, why do I need to have guest suites? Maybe the suite does not have a kitchen. Just saying. It tells you where the location needs to be and the type 1 or type 2, the replacements, and the rating has to have a nominal discharge or current rating, I sub n of not less than 10 kA. I love it. So you've got 230 implications. 210, we already talked about 210. We talked about Article 100. 215. Oh, 215. So if you have a feeder supplying this, say you have service equipment, then you have a meter stack, and then you have your feeders supplying the dwelling units. Let's see what else. 225 as well, outdoor feeders. 210.12, AFCIs. So guest rooms and guest suites of hotels and motels. So that's 210.12D covers these. That's why you see 2 arc fault circuit interrupters in this panel board based upon the previous video that you watched. There's 210.70B. We already talked about 210.70. What am I missing? What about what's 640? 640 is your audio and signaling. So 640.1A. Nope. I'm trying to see where next. Oh boy. Well, you have 406.12 tamper-resistant receptacles, and I've got tamper-resistant receptacles all through this hotel room, so that's a good thing. So tamper-resistant receptacles, 406.12, you're going to have to follow, and Article 700. So Article 700, so here's the thing. If you have a backup generator for this, and it's considered life safety for egress. Now remember, just because I have a life safety system in this, say, structure, does not mean that I have to have a generator, right? I may not have a generator. I could get things done with battery-powered lighting, etc. So now I also have a couple elevators in here. So you've got elevator requirements in here as well, and you may have those on an Article 700 system. You may or may not. My point is, you may or may not have an Article 700 life safety system. You may or may not have an Article 620 system. This has an elevator or 2. I think there's 2 elevators in here. So I will have an Article 620 system. I'll have industrial control panels. I'll have elevator control panels, all that jazz. So you have multiple areas within the National Electrical Code that will apply to this structure because of the types of systems that I have installed. So I'm not saying that every hotel is going to have an Article 700 system. Not every hotel is going to have an elevator and an elevator control panel. I could argue that not every hotel is going to have air conditioning. Although I wouldn't be staying there, but you're not required, right? So not every hotel is going to have a room that has a kitchen that can be considered meeting the definition of a dwelling unit. So every hotel is going to be a little different. You have to think about the application. What are the systems that are going to that are required to be in place, and then understand what portions of the National Electrical Code will apply to that structure. Make sense? So, like I say, you may or may not have an elevator. You may or may not have an Article 700 life safety generator. You might not have an Article 445. You may or may not have an Article 690. You may have a photovoltaic system associated with them. You may have an interconnected system, an Article 705 system. You may or may not have an energy management system, Article 750. You have to think about the design, think about the goals and objectives of the owner of the hotel or motel. Think about the design of that, and that will take you on your journey. And I just realized something. Here is, I just learned this. I just learned this Saturday during my training session. Here's what I learned. If you have NFPA link and you go to the enhanced content associated with each of the articles, go to the .1 scope and go to the enhanced content for the scope. You're going to love this. There is a list of defined terms that apply to that article. So for Article 700, I'm on 700 right now. The defined terms, and you can click on any of these and they'll bring them up from Article 100. Automatic load control relay, branch circuit emergency lighting transfer switch, directly controlled emergency luminaire, emergency lighting control device, and then normal/emergency power source. Those are the defined terms that are in Article 100 that apply to Article 700 only. So if I click on automatic load control relay, I will see the defined term, and at the end of that, in parens, is 700. Tell me that is not sweet. If I go to 517, let me go up to 517. I just learned this. I go to 517, I hit 517.1, and I go to enhanced content, and boom, there is a whole list of definitions that only apply to 517. That is what I'm talking about. Usability. And in my opinion, best kept secret, because I didn't know about it until Saturday. I found out about it on Saturday during my class. Somebody in the class said, "Hey, did you know?" And I'm like, "No, I did not know." So good job, NFPA. Good job. That is value right there. And if you have NFPA link, you have that as well. Check it out. If you have NFPA link, get out there to any one of those articles, go to the .1, go to the enhanced content, scroll down until you see the list of defined terms. I'm just going to try this. I'm going to go to 504. Some of these probably don't have any defined terms that only apply. If I go to the 504, no defined terms. Let me go to Article 500. You know why? Because I can. And I'm going to go to the enhanced content to 500.1, nothing. So if you're in an article, let's go to 690. Let's try PV. 690, because it goes to 690. And I go to enhanced content on .1, and there they are. AC module system, DC combiner, monopole circuit, PV system, DC circuit, PV source circuit, and PV string circuit. Those are the defined terms that are in Article 100 that only apply to Article 690. Did you know that? Tell me in the comments, did you know that that was the case in the enhanced content of NFPA link? I don't know where I've been. I must have been out gallivanting. So there's some good stuff coming to you in that area. So when you're doing a hotel or motel, remember chapters 1 through 4 apply generally. So services, Article 230 for services, Article 215 for branch circuits, 215 for feeders, 240 for overcurrent protection. All of the requirements in chapters 1 through 4 will apply to this installation. There are some specific requirements for my receptacles in 210.52, for my lighting in 210.70. There are some load calculation too in Article 220. 220.44 talks about hotel and motel occupancies. Guest rooms and guest suites of hotels and motels. The following lighting and receptacle outlets are included in the minimum unit load. All the general use receptacle outlets of 20 ampere rating or less, the receptacle outlets specified in 210.52E3, and the lighting outlets specified in 210.70. That's in the 220.44 application. Yeah, 220.44. So check out 220.44. It is late here. I'm an hour behind my bedtime. All right? I'm just saying. 220.10, branch circuit load shall be calculated in accordance with the following sections. 220.14, and then hotel and motel occupancies 220.44. Already saw that one. Telling you, this is like the gift that keeps on giving. 220.46b, track lighting. What's that say? For track lighting in other than dwelling units or guest rooms and guest suites of hotels and motels, an additional load of 150 VA shall be included for every 2 feet of lighting, track, or a fraction thereof. So if you, I haven't seen hotel rooms with lighting track, or track lighting. So you may not have to, but you never know. I'm just saying. You might see it in bar areas and the restaurant areas and things like that. Maybe in the common areas, you might see some track lighting, like, the breakfast bar stuff and stuff like lobby areas and stuff like that. So be mindful of the track lighting in 220.46b. I doubt you'll have a showroom, but you never know. What other 220 requirements? 220.10, already talked about that. 220.46, already talked about that. 220.14h, fixed multi-outlet assemblies. Talked about 220.45. 220.42a, motors less than 1/8 of a horsepower and connected to a lighting circuit, blah, yada, yada, yada. So those are the requirements for hotels and motels. But remember, there are a lot of sections inside the NEC. There are some areas that specifically call out hotels and motels. But remember, 1 through 4 apply generally. If you have a fueling station, you're in Chapter 5. If you have a swimming pool, you're in 680. You have a photovoltaic system, you're in 690. Possibly 705 for interconnected systems. You have a Article 700 life safety system. You might have an elevator, controls, etc. What else? There can be a lot of areas in the National Electrical Code that impact hotels and motels. You've got to be mindful of all of the different features and functions for the overall system design. Outside branch circuits, outside feeders, you'll have lighting, etc. So you might have electric vehicle chargers too. So when you think about these types of applications, you can't assume that all you got to do is go to this one section. Remember, 1 through 4 apply generally. When you get to chapters 5, 6, and 7, your impact there will depend upon what systems you have employed for the application. All right? All right. So that pretty much takes care of my session on hotels and motels. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to IAEI News Live. My name is Thomas Dimitrovich. My nose is running. This is what happens to me when I get into hotel rooms. I get an allergy attack. I think it's because of the sprays that they use. I don't know. But once I get out of this room in the morning, I'll be all cleared up. So anyway, thanks for joining in. Thanks for all the comments. Please leave your comments. Comment on the video. It doesn't matter when you're viewing this, whether you viewed this when it aired or you viewed it after the fact. I would love to have your feedback. That's how we learn. That is the value of the IAEI. Working together, making things happen. All right. Remember, stay safe, stay healthy. All right? Take care. We will see you next week.